The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by bowlersmart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Roll to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning and welcome to the and Barnzy Show. As usual, I'm Barnzy and I will soon to be joined by the unimitable Beef Stew. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties with our guest today. So, hi.
Hello.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be joined shortly by our guest. He's having some technical difficulties, but if not, don't worry. Stu's still here. We'll make it through the hour.
And look how pretty Chris looks now. We got him a new camera.
We do have a new camera. It's high dollar. I'm up in Stu range now. I got a microphone, got a camera. It's all kinds of fancy. So
the whole point of this episode was we were going to get Barry on to talk about back in my day, but really about how the world's come completely full circle. It's happening not in bowling. It's also happening with the Supreme Court. So I felt like it was fairly topical that we're just, going backwards in the world. The fact that 60 years ago, maybe? You think it was maybe 60 years ago, Chris, about the
yeah, I mean, we were in the 60s there. So, it was right. Not quite yet. 50, 55, 58 years ago, somewhere in there.
So they had an issue, and a lot of the rules regarding hardness kind of came from that.
They very much did.
Yeah, they were soaking plastic balls in the old chemicals to make them softer.
MEK.
And amazingly, 55 years on, that's still the way that USB-C is talking about making it softer.
Yeah, I guess that would end up. Yeah, I don't
know. So, really ahead of their time.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not in the same room. We actually just painted the office that I was in before. So, same room. Spun it around a little bit, but lighting's a little different, certainly darker. And there he is. Speaking of which, bam.
Hello, Mr. Eddie. Well, congrats on the win of the Storm Fate. I appreciate that you liked the ball reviews and you got something positive from it. That's awesome.
Yes, the bowling balls were the last to join the party, I think, but it would appear so. It was methyl ethyl ketone, actually, was what they used,
which is significantly worse for you.
Yes, that is not that's a dangerous chemical.
So the idea was that Barry was going to kind of talk to us about it, but we had Barry working for a minute. And then he got a phone call, and then it stopped working. And subsequently, Barry hasn't been able to get his phone working again. So, shit, basically.
Yeah.
Because even Chris isn't old enough to have used one of these.
But people who were, Charlie Tapp, he was looking forward to this. There we go. Craig, who is our resident historian. And there was some people that would be absolutely 100% fine with that solution. So,
and two of those some people are sat right here. I think that me and Chris are somewhat on the same page on it. I don't think that it necessarily that it going away. I don't think it's necessarily a fair solution, even if that is the solution that we would be both happy with.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed if it went away, but I don't think that it's.
What's up, Kenny?
The right solution.
Your spare ball.
Yeah.
I know. It's not going very well, is it? So anyway, let's continue on. So basically, we'll give you an outline of how the stories that we've heard and how we kind of understand the thing to be, and then Barry can come in and tell us, "Nah, son, you're full of shit." So principally, there was a couple of guys who were soaking the balls, and everybody couldn't understand how suddenly these guys could hook it so much, and I guess everybody was just a little bit dumbfounded until was it one regional? Was it Dick Weber who went to the regional? And
that was one of the stories we'd heard recently.
Yeah, and he was literally the only person in the field who couldn't make his ball hook.
Like last to get the memo. He was winning a little too much. Nobody was looking to share.
Yeah.
The legend.
So I really wanted to chat with Barry about this because, like, just to see how obvious it was back in the day over what a good one was and what a normal one was. Because obviously for us, if me made one as soft as you could make, as they were talking about making it on the USB-C testing study, I'm actually not sure it'd be any use.
Yeah, not today.
Like, I don't know that the lane would be wide enough.
Yeah, back in the day, we tested some epoxy balls, which is interesting. But the one that came out was actually, I'm not even sure why that was the one that came out at the time, because I thought that was probably one of the more mediocre ones of the bunch. I tested some that they knew what was going on. They had me throw it, and it just went in the left gutter at like 30 feet. And I'm like, oh, there's just not enough oil in the lane. They ran it and then ran it again and 2 more times. So it had 4 times as much oil in the lane as before. And he goes, okay, throw it now. And it went in the gutter at 35 feet. And I went, oh my God, you can wreck the whole bowling industry with this thing. I mean, they can't put enough oil to stop it from hooking. Snowman would have been, this thing's wheelhouse. I wish I'd have kept that test ball. I'd still have it. Holy cow.
Yeah. By the way, we call that a hype solid now.
Yeah, maybe. It was crazy how they could make it hook. And there was a story that Barry was about because he was friends with Don McCune, and he went through it, and there wasn't a whole lot of oil in the lane. There was only 6 to 8 mils maybe total. And it was basically mineral oil, which today would be 22 or 18 viscosity. And it was, Don didn't hook it very much, and then he did. And then turns out if you're really good at being accurate and a high-end bowler, and then all of a sudden your ball goes through the pin. Yeah.
Maybe we should ask Charlie if he can get on in a minute. Harry Golden, who was the PBA commissioner, said every hotel room door was open in the middle of winter and was surprised they didn't blow a hotel up. Because, like, back in the day, there wasn't as many hotel rooms, and also you were going to a lot more smaller towns. So pretty much everybody was in the same 2 hotels.
Yeah. You had a sign-up sheet. By the time I was on tour, there was just a sign-up sheet. Somebody had called ahead, worked it out. figured out, someplace we could stay for a decent rate and got themselves a free room, and everybody just signed up on the sheet. It was just easier to do it that way. So, yeah, yeah, maybe that's what it was.
That's the old, what's it called? Motive thing now.
Yep. Yeah.
No, Travis, I wasn't. No, we're actually. I think for the higher rev rate guys, the Hype Solid looks like a really, really good piece. No, I was just laughing that Chris's ball hooking that much now is basically the equivalent of a Hype Solid now. Like all the balls are so strong now. Well, I guess we're gonna have to pivot a little bit, Chris, because I don't know that we're necessarily qualified.
Certainly. My only input is through the stories of some of the guys. Charlie's one of them. Barry's one of them. Eugene really didn't talk about it a whole lot, and I don't know if that's because his dad didn't share with him or because he's just protecting his dad. Yeah, both are good enough reasons. So,
yeah. Oh, Charlie Tapp. Here we go.
Yeah, we'll add a little expert commentary on this. So,
a little extra spice. You ready, Charlie?
PBA historian.
Oh boy. Microphone isn't working very well there, Charlie.
If you turn your phone sideways, we can go better. There you go.
Oh no, this isn't working. This is a disaster today, isn't it, Chris?
We're having a day. I can't hear you.
Have you got your microphone covered? No, don't hear you, Charlie. I'm telling you, this is Chad's way of making stories stay where they belong. Okay, that made me laugh. I'm sorry, Charlie, it's not working.
I can't.
It's like your microphone is covered by the case or something because we just can't hear. It won't pick up.
Hang on, let me take the case.
Yeah, that made it a bit better.
That ain't better?
Yeah, that was better.
Okay. All
right. Don says Charlie Tapp silenced the very first.
That's right.
Oh, there we go. We're good.
Hey.
There we good? Okay. All right. I got all kinds of shit to make up, so go ahead.
Well, you fit right in then.
Absolutely. So. This is the place to do it.
All right. So I'm really talking about us the whole world going backwards. I think that the Supreme Court started it with the whole we're just going to go backwards with the abortion thing. Don't care whether you think it's a good idea. It's not. And then on top of that, now we've got the bowling balls, softest wins, which I guess from my understanding was kind of the way it was back in the 60s.
Yeah, they actually the Soaker days were even a little bit before me, but when I bowled in St. Paul and Minneapolis, everybody was soaking them. It was crazy.
And when was that?
Oh God, that would have been in the mid 70s.
Wow. So it was that far along. So
how long did it take for them to address it?
Actually, it wasn't very long. I was trying to think. There was a tournament we bowled. We have this organization called the CBA, and every year we'd have a tournament in Vegas. and there were a couple of guys there that had short D's that were soaked. And I mean, you can put your thumb in them, and I mean, it was stupid. And most of us had like the Brunswick like LTDs and those type of balls. And it was just the way the ball went through the pins. And then Brunswick came out with a True Track. I don't know if you guys ever saw a rubber True Track. Oh shit, that had to be from the factory. It probably had to be 60, something like that. You couldn't even hear it hit the floor. Literally. I mean, it was unbelievable. And back at that time, I threw it really hard. And so, buddy, the teammate of mine, he goes, Charlie, he said, I got to drill you a True Track. And he said, you throw that son of a bitch as hard as you want. I said, okay. And it was unreal. I mean, it was exactly like a soaker. And then, so then they outlawed those. And that's when the hardness rule came in, was about that time. But yeah, it was real prevalent in the middle 70s.
So the hardness rule came in what, 76, 75?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
McCune's best year was 73. So that's obviously when he won all the 6 titles in the same year.
Yeah, he won 6. Yeah. In fact, I just saw that the other day. I think he won 6, and then didn't McGrath have a hell of a year that year too?
Well, that would make sense. His ball turned over for the 7th and 8th time.
Yeah, and some of the guys in Minneapolis and St. Paul had him. Oh, Jesus. It wasn't a fair fight, believe me. It was not a fair fight.
So for people who don't really appreciate quite what a difference it made, how obvious was it? Like the difference between like a guy who wasn't on the program and a guy who was?
I mean, yeah, it was no comparison. It was like throwing a plastic ball now. If you didn't have one, and then having the biggest atomic bomb they have now. I mean, it was just, and at that, back at that time, of course, nobody really ever saw anything like that. And it's like, well, who the hell came up with this? And the accusations going back and forth about, well, this one's soaked and this one isn't, and this one's soaked, and they're on the rack and they're like jelly.
I mean, honestly, you could be talking about last season for us.
Well, that's yeah.
I mean, I'm really talking about the accusations more than the balls like being so ridiculous.
Yeah, because there really wasn't any way to prove it. I mean, there was really no way to prove it. Especially like when we got to Vegas. There was one kid from here that bowled pretty good nationally. The Paul Airstead. You remember that name? He's probably a little bit too old for you, but he was really, really good. And he was like in with the group like with Sam Lanto. Anyway, but he was a really good bowler, and we were at the Showboat when they had that tournament, that CBA tournament, and him and another guy. I can't. It doesn't matter what his name is, but they finished 1-2, and it was blatantly obvious what they what they had, and everybody's going, you soaked that, and bullshit, I didn't soak it, and then you pick it up and your fucking hand would stick to it, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Here's a good one. Don Johnson had a take on McCune winning 6 times before everybody found out. He only won 6 times. If I'd have had a soaker, I'd have won every week.
That's probably true. Don Johnson was so good. Oh God, we bowled in Milwaukee one year, and they forgot to oil one lane, and he happened to have the finish on that lane. He was on that pair, and he had an LT-48 on the left lane and a blue dot on the right lane, playing like 30. And this is 1978, 79, something like that. Shoots 220, makes the finals. It's like, holy shit, it didn't matter. I mean, that guy was so good, it didn't matter what the hell he had. Barry was the same way. I mean,
we might be Barry's got his beanie on now, so he might be good to go.
He's not out walking his dog. He usually calls me at 6 o'clock in the morning because he's out walking his dog. I haven't heard from him in a while. I was hoping he was still alive. You know.
Yeah. Well, his phone's actually starting to leave to work. Barry, do you want to get your head in shot and I'll bring you in? There we go. What's up, Barry?
Hey, what are you
Barry.
doing?
You find a grandkid to get your phone to work?
Oh, hey, you know what? There's some things about Costa Mesa that are great, but the internet's not one of them.
I thought maybe it just flip phones didn't do video very well.
Thanks, Chris. You're just you're you know, I've had 25 years of kind words from you. God, it's just absolutely amazing. And then we've got this guy down here, Charlie. That's a beautiful sight there.
What's going on, my man?
Hey, it's just I just go to work. It's just nothing exciting. I don't bowl, but you know.
Yeah.
So I watch this show, and then I follow Chris on the senior tour to see the free money tour that he's on.
Oh yeah. That's
You know,
that's
they're
like
just
Social Security to that
missing
guy.
some zeros.
Just raking it in. I made enough this year to pay for the paint on this room.
Nice.
That's about it. Just this
Hey,
room.
hey, you know what's really sad about that picture in your room there? I'm in that picture, so you know you get to see me every day.
Are you?
Yeah,
I've got that same picture. I'm gonna have to go look for that.
I could sign it for you.
It's
Uh,
very
Just
abstract.
why not ruin a
You know
picture?
what?
I ruin it by being in it. You know.
I've got a Leroy Neiman, a Willie Mays. I'd really much rather have Willie sign it than Charlie Tapp. I'm sorry.
I think Harry
Well, you
Gold
Al
has a good one,
Capone's
too.
dead. You know, Chris might be on there. I could get Bo to sign it.
All right, Barry. Let's talk about your best stories about balls that bounced. They were so soft they bounced.
Balls that bounce.
Well, no, I'm just laughing
Are we
about
going back?
the balls got to the point where they were almost so soft that they were almost like you were throwing a basketball.
They were. Soakers had. There was no. We didn't know what a durometer was in '70. I guess it started in 73 when it was obvious that McCune had something that nobody else had.
So how does that
Because he went from.
I was going to say, Barry, how does that you say you went from, I guess Don was a straight player or a straighter player, and then suddenly he was left of everybody else. Like what? Like how was that conversation?
See, as you're breaking up, but I can add to it if you can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead.
He was pretty good from left. He wasn't as good as myself, Jimmy Godman, Don Johnson, or Salvino, or I could probably name 8 or 10 guys. Don was he was a top 20 from 15th to 20th, 25th. But all of a sudden it was really obvious in Milwaukee on the TV show because they go the other side of the house at the same place, Wauwatosa, and that pair never had any scores. And he was left of everybody, and he's like 960 or something on the show. He just went through everybody like it was nothing. And then it was just, and he didn't do it. He just didn't have a big hand. He just kind of got it off his hand. We bowled together ABC, almost won an eagle with him. But he was a very good bowler, but he wasn't. He wasn't that good. Let's just be honest. So the soaker, it looked like in a tournament I bowled really good in was Rhode Island with rubber ball, and he was close. He was like 300. He was 300 ahead of me with 9 to go and finished about third. But the ball, it was just different. It was like when you first saw the what was the new line? What was it called? The ball.
Excalibur.
Except the Excalibur would slide for 60 feet on oil. But if it had some friction, it was crazy. When you started to create friction, and the soaker just had it when it. Hey, now the term has changed directions. Well, balls changed directions then, whether they were rubber or plastic or whatever. But the man had an advantage for the better part of a season.
Yeah, we act like that lanes haven't been scoreable at some point. I have a little stat here that Barry at the time set the average record in the PBA by averaging 247 for a tournament. And that's back when that was 42 games in 1971. I can neither confirm nor deny that that was the balls he used with, but
that's, you know what? That is close. The ball I used was an ebonite, and you might the script writing of ebonite. And I found it in the pro shop, and Dick Weber's kid, Rich Jr., drilled it for, and the ball probably had bottom weight. It was 25 years old, and it worked for 1 week.
We've all had one of those.
The lanes, you guys still there?
Yeah.
Did I lose you again?
Keep talking, Barry.
We didn't know
that. We can hear you. So
having trouble again.
All right, Barry, go away. All right. So Barry just got another phone call. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kick him out again. And hopefully I'll get there. So Richie Allen here is asking the question for Barry. Is it true that Senior is Ken Griffey Senior came over and you'd throw balls to Ken Griffey Jr. as a kid and he parked you over the backyard fence? The most amazing...
I can confirm that story is true. I've heard the story. I can confirm I've been in the room when Junior has called and talked to Barry.
Yeah. And Barry is I thought you had an earthquake then, Charlie.
Yeah, pretty close.
Barry is Ken Griffey's godfather, right?
Yeah.
So kind of the most amazing bowling story, really. Because real quick fun story. Our friend Jared, the YouTube guy with the hair, Frono's photo, he sort of like big timed us a little bit and was telling us that Ken Griffey's my guy, and he got me the pass for the MLB this year. So he could go as a journalist to all of the MLB games. And I said, oh, well, bowling can one-up you on that one. Ken Griffey's godfather is in the Hall of Fame. And he's like, really? How does that work? And I was like, because it's Barry Asher.
Barry is about as connected through L.A. He grew up there. I mean, he literally seems to know. I mean, way more people than we do across. I mean, the golden era of bowling. I mean, bowling was on par with other sports across the board. And Barry, you know, I didn't get a chance to read off, you know, all the Hall of Fames he's in, but 10 titles. He's was in, still listed as one of the 50th greatest, and we all know how hard that is once you've been, you know, out of sight, out of mind. Any of you that watch The Big Lebowski, he's the one that throws the closing shot.
Oh, really?
So you don't see his face, but he's the guy that throws the shot at the end. So he was the consultant for all the bowling stuff there, and
he's been on Storage Wars as well.
Yeah, he has the pro shop at Fountain Bowl there, where we've had the U.S. Open a few times and a bunch of regular PBA stops.
Did you ever see that episode, Charlie, of Storage Wars? You know the tournament, the program I'm talking about, Storage Wars?
Yeah. No, I never did. I
it's brilliant.
Bits and pieces of it one time, and that's
it's brilliant. There you go. So Al says, we weren't. Charlie might have been. Were you guys in Alameda when Don and the guys were soaking MEK in the bathtub at the motel next to the bowl, and the fire department was called in because of the fumes? Think that was the end of the soakers when they almost blew up the hotel and the bowl.
That was a couple of years before me. But yeah, that was one of the stories I think that Harry Golden told me, that they're surprised he didn't blow up a hotel. No, because all the doors were outside. You know, they were all had outside doors. You know, and everybody had them open. It didn't matter if it was 100 degrees outside or 20 below. You know, everybody was soaking the balls. But I'm trying to remember who it was that spilled their guts about it. Because McEwen told somebody, and whoever it was that he told, I think it might have been Eagle. Barry might be able to confirm that. But
hey, Barry. Hi, Barry. Can you? I guess you, Chris. You try talking to him.
Can you hear us now, Barry? Can you hear me now?
Apparently not.
Looks like he's frozen now.
Oh shit! All right. Well,
He
anyway,
lives on a very nice house on a golf course in LA, but I guess it's relatively close to Fort Wayne Airport. Yeah, signal's terrible. So, yeah. But so where were we? Yeah.
Al says he was present. He was present at that one as a junior.
Oh, there you go.
There's an informative time. So, like I say, what do you like? For me, anyway, I think that when we were bowling and we were looking at the urethane balls, like, I guess the difference for us really comes later in the blocks when we notice the ones that are like special, so to speak. Was it just from word go for you guys then, or was there? Because I guess with you having so much less oil on the lanes didn't really change as much.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I started my first tournament was the end of '78, and actually it was in Battle Creek, Michigan, which is right down the road from where I live. And I went into the paddock and they had to check all your stuff in, and I had a couple of yellow dots and white dots, and guys were selling white dots and white dots and caramels out of the back of their vans for $75 a piece, and just it was like a drug deal going on, and it was unbelievable. It was 2 guys in a van. Hey, I've got this AMF 3 dot. It's a 5P caramel, and it'll hook off the lane type of shit, and there was a lot of that. But I put my first yellow dot on the table, and it had a little bit of plug in it. And so I give the ball to Litchi, and I don't know anybody there. It's my first tournament. And so he grabs the ball, he rolls it up, and he puts it under a metal detector. And I said, excuse me. I said, but isn't that a metal detector? He goes, yeah. And I goes, why would you put my ball under a metal detector? He says, because these fuckers cheat all the time. That's exactly what he said. And I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into? He goes, oh, yeah, barium, mercury. I said, yeah, be shitting me. He goes, oh, no. He goes, that's why I have this here. I'm like, oh, my God, what the hell? So, yeah, they're pushing it through. He's got the metal detector, and you got guys in the paddock selling balls out of their vans, and holy shit, it was nuts.
Got anything to add to that, Barry?
Let's see. Before I left, I heard Charlie say one word: eagle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought that up.
That's okay. I think it was in Seattle. But McCune and I, our spans were the same. In fact, we bowled the ABC. He was the first guy to use. Well, Don Johnson used plastic, Columbia's, but Don always used crown jewels, and they were really good. And so I said to Don, I said, hey, man, let's go cross town. We're in Seattle. Let's go cross town and practice. Well, okay. He said, let's go. I said, hey, nobody will be there. They're going to let us in. A couple lanes, got some oil on them. So we go over. He brings in 3 or 4 bowling balls. I put my hand in one. He goes, oh, you can't throw that one. I go, why not? He says, well, it won't stay on the lane. Oh, well, he was right. It didn't stay on the lane. He says, throw this one, move, play like the 4th arrow and whatever. And all of a sudden, like the 5-pin, it kind of looked like, Barnes in his prime. That 5-pin was just going through the sidewall that would break it. Like, holy shit. I mean, you've had this for probably since last summer. And you just strike a ton. And then I don't know. Don, at the point, I think Don was just feeling like, God, I don't know what he was feeling, but he slipped, said something to Eagle. Well, Eagle was nosy as hell anyway. He'd stick it, he'd be going through people's bowling bags and it's Eagle. Don't get me started there. But so by the next week after Seattle, maybe Portland, Fresno was really, really good. And I think that might have been Don won Japan, but Fresno. I used a rubber ball, an XL5 Ebonite, and I'm bowling eagle on a pair at Cedar Lanes, and the 2 games on that pair, I had $5.99 in quality in the finals. I'm bowling him, and he is hooking the ball around me. And he shoots like 260, 270. The lanes were really nice. And obviously, if I had 300, people got a chance to win this tournament. And there was a black bowler from Detroit, Bobby Williams, who's dead and gone now, but he finished second. And I need to strike for second, and I didn't finish fifth. I think Eagle was third. And after that, the shit hit the fan. Alameda, I think, and Redwood City.
Barry,
Yes.
just hold the phone with your other hand. Your hand's covering the microphone.
Gotcha. Oh, how's that?
That's much better.
Okay. So Redwood City, I think everybody thought acetone was the chemical of choice, and it was really toluene because it was probably half the strength of acetone and MEK. Paul Caldwell's got a bathtub full of MEK or whatever it is. He almost blows up the hotel.
So how long were you putting the balls in there for?
Oh, McCune was an expert. I mean, he'd have probably some for a few hours, some for more than that, less. He had the touch. I was with Ebonite, and they had a ball. I don't know. It's kind of a burgundy colored ball, and right out in the backyard, right 20 feet from where I'm sitting right now, I had a bucket of toluene, and I left it in there for about a day.
Was it still there?
I did, and it had that inlaid E, and the E melted out, so there was no E, just kind of a hole there. And I took it to the bowling alley, and the ball, and I already bowled on the lane with my rubber ball, and the ball, I was like, I looked at the third arrow, and when the ball got to the arrows, it was at the fifth arrow. So 17, 18 feet, the ball took 10 boards, and it just like dead stopped, started to roll out, and was going backwards towards the head pin. And ball speed was maybe it probably went for, I don't know how hard. I threw it kind of hard then. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I threw it 18, 19, I don't know. But it was probably down to about 8 when it got to the pin. And it was a crazy time. Tucson was the only time that I really used one in a tournament. And it was, I bowled good. That was one of the wins.
Tucson was the only time I used one.
Oh, no, it wasn't this one. That was a yellow dot. The other one, I beat Dennis Sueda.
Just so you know, that is Barry. Don't let the hair fool you.
Are you wearing ripped jeans?
No.
Hey, Sutar needed a 9-bagger in the 10th to beat me that game.
There's a lot of
both bowling.
There's a lot of accessories going on here, but
especially the hair.
You mean the accessory on top of my head?
No.
I did wrinkles then, Chris.
So you were talking about toluene, acetone, and MEK. So which was the one that was the most aggressive to the balls?
Well, MEK, probably acetone and MEK MEK was slower acting than acetone. So acetone was kicked to the curb immediately. MEK would really soften the ball a ton, but MEK was the slowest, or toluene. That's what McCune used, and he could control it by how long he dipped it or whatever. That's kind of that was my take on it.
Google now going on a search on trending searches, toluene.
There you go.
Hey Barry, did you have anything to do with, or were you in the movie The Dreamer?
No.
They had they filmed that, I think, or not filmed, whatever, in at Weber's place in
St. Louis.
St. Louis. And you remember Don McLaren?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the tournament director. So it's Tim Matheson, I think, was the actor, and I don't know how many bowlers were there. Nobody could get a strike. And so anyway, McLaren, I guess, stopped the filming or whatever and said, there can't anybody get a strike. So he took all the bowling balls and he soaked them.
Really?
Yeah, he soaked them, and all of a sudden they couldn't miss. Because they couldn't get a strike they couldn't get a strike for the movie. The actor, he's a douche. He didn't know what the hell he's doing, Yeah. So anyway, he just took all the bowling balls, soaked them for however long it was, put them back out. He said, boom, it was bombs away.
It sounds like our guys now, when they can't use urethane on the fresh, nobody can throw a strike.
So in your memory, did urethane keep getting softer then? Is that why there was a variance in between, like I think they were made at 78, I guess at that point, probably in the 80s.
I left before LT48. So
say that again.
I left before there was an LT48. So that was
really.
I think that show that you just showed a clip of was Sutar. It said Black Beauty, but I think that was an LT48, one of the first ones. Then after I left, the LT48 came in there, and guys were telling me how good that was when I was working the ABC in St. Louis. And after that was urethane, whatever came first. The guy that had, remember the ball, the caboose.
Yeah.
It was the Brunswick cover. They made those in Utah, and they said, I forget the man's name, that was part of that to begin with. And he said the balls were so violent that they were afraid to put them on the market. But there was a guy, Keith, and then he was buddies with Steve Cooper. So they bagged some of them and I guess took them to California. And then they put them out on the market, and then you've got the Excalibur. And then when who was it? McDowell used it on TV and just destroyed the pair.
Yeah,
he shot him. Just whatever it was. That just the way the ball changed directions at the back.
Medium rev rate guy that just his ball went circles around the rest of the guys. And
that's what happened.
So just quickly about back in your day, Barry. So did it kind of go like, obviously it went rubber, plastic, urethane, but were people using rubber balls against plastic balls for a long period of time, or was it like plastic was obviously better, so they went to plastic? How did that work?
No, you could go back in time and see some shows or something like that. I didn't have a problem with. I could beat plastic. I could beat soakers with a rubber ball, and I did it on certain conditions. But then the plastic being able to knock down more pins. But the rubber era, I mean, obviously, if you average 247 and the guy below me, I think Buckley was, I don't know who was second, Mike Orlovsky. The guys averaged 240s. And a couple of weeks before that in Houston, the left side was dead easy. And a guy, Bob Singleton, Johnny won, he averaged close to 240.
So just for my understanding, so were people carrying like a plastic ball and a rubber ball? Was that like a thing?
It probably was, because once plastic took over, I mean, I bowled with a Jubileer or a Ripley. They were made in Sweden, and a Manhattan. So I had two bowling balls I used.
Ripley's were like bricks, weren't they? I mean, weren't they harder than hell?
You know what? Manhattans were in the 80s, and Ripley's might have been 90. Brunswick balls, I don't know what they were, but they would actually skid further than the other two.
How about the Micassas?
I've got one in the shop. It's a 12-pounder. I don't think anybody used them. I don't know.
Bill Straub used to look for Micassas all the time.
Well, he can find one on the internet for 10,000.
I think Manier used one as a spare ball for a long time. I think that ball that had to be 90s, 90 plus.
Well, it was acrylic, and with today's carbides, you couldn't drill 2 finger holes with a 31 30 without replacing the drill.
Oof.
Yeah, they were bad.
I've got a 12-pounder in my shop, orange, and my friend in Hawaii who had them all. You'll see them on the internet for 10,000, and that's the crack up thing, because they said some idiot selling balls for 10,000. I said the guy was in my wedding. And he has a law degree from Cal, but I think if he ever sells one, I think Sanford. I think he bought them for about $16 a piece. So you only need to sell one.
But the storage cost and transportation over the years has been a little steep.
Yeah.
Terry says, how did people shoot spares with soakers?
About the same way I shoot spears with a reactive ball. I miss them. I bowled a summer league with my daughter, and I became that guy. 10-pin, and oh my God, I can't make this spare. But
So how often do you bowl now, Barry?
How often do I bowl now? Let's see. I bowled last summer.
See, that's what I'm saying. So if you and Baker got on the lanes with lunch on the line, who do you think would win?
Baker.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He never bowls. All he does is he just shows off and picks. If he finds a fat guy like me, he picks their ball up and goes, "This will work."
And strikes.
And strikes. I literally don't think I've ever seen Baker not strike when he's just picked up a random person's ball and thrown it. It's so annoying.
Charlie knows, and you can take the guy that strikes the best now. The ball that really strikes the best, and Mark's ball was that good, wasn't it, Charlie?
Was which one?
Mark. Mark could outstrike everybody.
Oh God, yeah.
It was. Flanagan told me once. He said Mark was high average on tour, George Young high average award, and he missed 5,000 pins in spares.
That's probably true.
He had 5 pins to his average, and he might have been leading money winner. He could strike that much. But
when he got line, it was incredible.
Yeah, 235 was double 10-pin miss it, strike 10-pin miss it, off the sheet.
Like an Astros and a Patriots fan here. How's that saying go? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's okay. You know what? Hey,
it's only cheating if you get caught.
That's true. The 17 Astros, they got caught, but hell, the best pitcher in the baseball supposedly was Kershaw on the mound, and you had him 6-run lead, and he couldn't keep it. So what the hell?
Yeah, I mean the Dodgers are just chokers. It's just the way it is.
Well, I don't know. They like to use the bullpen a lot. I mean, yeah. I'm so old, and Charlie sold a bullpen game. A bullpen game. There's no such thing as a bullpen game. You go out there and you pitch 7-8 innings, and Bob Gibson had more complete games than he had wins. That's a fact.
Yeah. Oh, he was unbelievable, that guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ever see Dave Winfield pitch? That's what he pitched like in high school. He was unbelievable.
He was.
You couldn't even see the ball.
He might have been one. He was one of the best athletes that ever lived.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He liked to bowl too. I bowled with him when we were like in junior high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice guy. I haven't seen him in years, but
I had dinner with
both ways.
I'd hang out with Blue Moon Odom at these golf tournaments, and Winfield sat at our table one time.
Yeah.
So real quick, from both of you, what's the most egregious attempt at cheating that you ever saw that got found out? Because they're talking about sticking shit at the side of the ball. I'm fascinated by this.
I never saw anybody bowl with a ball that had mercury in the side. So I don't know what mercury did, but there was talks of a guy named Don Galinsky came out from Detroit, young, good-looking guy, and action bowler, and he had a load, and he shot like 850 around here, and this is in the 50s. But it was probably, lead or, fishing weights in the side of a ball, drill a hole, plug it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you seen that? There's a guy on YouTube. He's drilled like I think he's in California. He made his ball like 23 pounds or something. Like he drilled like a plastic ball and he throws it and it's amazing. It like, have you ever done like you shoot at clays, like clay, like where they send them out and you shoot them and you hit dead center and it powders it. It doesn't even go in bits. That's what it looks like when he hits the pocket with it. The pins just go.
That's crazy.
What about you, Charlie? What's your?
Well, they were. I mean, that back in it's like late '70s and early '80s when the stuff started. They were kind of on everybody, but with the cheating, or trying to cheat. I don't think they could get away with it very well. If they did, between between metal detectors and all the other shit that they had, then I didn't see a whole lot of it. When I first started, that's kind of when it was kind of coming to a head. Like Barry said, well, all the soaking and all that stuff, and and like I said, when I checked in that tournament, they're looking for barium, and what the hell? I didn't know what barium was. I thought that was what they used for enemas, But
that's what weight blocks.
I think me and Chris, I think our best one, it wasn't even really cheating. It was just an assumption that it was okay. Was the year we bowled the US Open at Carolina and the MIT guys turned up with a remote control ball and tried to enter.
They did that at Fountain Bowl too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Was it Fountain? Yeah. I thought it was in a thingy. It probably was Fountain instead, but yeah, that's the best one, I think. JJ said it was brilliant. He went down and he was watching them use it. I'll be honest. I don't see an MIT guy with a remote control ball beating Nom Duke.
No,
no.
I watched it at Fountain that year. It didn't seem to work out all that well.
It would have probably been pretty handy for single pin spares because you could have taken that sucker down there about half a mile an hour and then got it right to the pin deck and then just push the pin off the deck. Everything else, not sure it was so good.
Well, they couldn't break that was, it was anything over 100. You guys, good game. And they had, I don't know, I think they got the money from the people at MIT. People donated money, so they had no money when they got there. I think that was the week it rained most of the week, and they were going to sleep in the paddock was a tent in the parking lot, and somebody took them in. It
might work out well in the future. Being nice to smart people is usually a good thing.
It's not good.
I'm
nice.
So what was the deal with the soaker balls then?
The deal with the soaker ball was that,
like, what made them what was it about them that made them so good?
Friction. Just today, what are you looking for? Friction. We didn't have a term for it then, but the ball, when it changed directions, it just had more energy than a rubber ball.
Well, Barry, how did he come about even figuring it out that, hey, if I put this ball in this stuff here, I'm going to be bowler of the year?
I was meaning the yellow dots.
Somebody else figured it out, Charlie. It wasn't Don.
Oh, okay.
Gave him that ball. He was a chemist. Yellow dots. Well, the first they had the Shore D, which they had no hardness rules, and those balls you could put your fingernail in it, even if you bite your nails like I do, and it would make an indentation. So some of those balls got into the 50s, 60s for hardness. So the PBA came up with the 75 rule, and the ABC wasn't going to do what the PBA did, so they did 72, I think. So then the yellow dot hit in maybe 74, the end of 74. So after that hardness rule, 75 or 72, what was the sense of cheating? I think cheating ended then. It was probably who could throw a yellow dot the best, or a crown jewel. Crown jewels they were really underrated. They didn't hook as much as yellow dots, but they seemed to hit better.
Kisro, and you know Kisro, Barry, but he's our resident historian here. He says Bill Taylor told McCune.
No, that's bullshit. Bill Taylor was a very smart man, except the only bowler that Bill Taylor ever coached could throw a strike was Mike Durbin. I mean, check the records.
You honestly sound just like Callahan when one of the ball designers comes down to like lay balls out for people. And he goes, "This guy's never laid out a double in his life."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big lookout guy. Pin up, pin down. That's good. Close enough for in my pro shop. But it's when degree and that degree and whatever. I mean, it's just the cover of the ball, the core of the ball lays over, and the ball strikes a lot.
Callahan had another classic line talking about balls. He said, "When a ball's good, it doesn't matter what layout you put it on it. You can drill it upside down; it'd still be good."
You know what? That might be close.
When he says things like that, he works with Sean Ryan, and Sean's very on the technical side of it. Sean cringes. Best practical joker, Joe Hutch or Mike Miller?
Wow, that's pretty good because I've been around Hutch so much. We roomed together at Camp Bakes, and Miller was pretty good. I didn't hang with him much, but he was.
Yeah, well, practical joker. I don't think Hutch was really a practical joker as much as he was a smartass. Mike Miller was more of a joker, I think. He had. I mean, Mike Miller would do anything. He would do anything.
Yeah.
Steve Fields would join the Mike Miller camp.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure.
That's the best. That story's the best. Oh my God.
I don't know about before my time, but yeah, Mike Miller was good. But Hutch
it was so funny when Mike Miller started bowling. This would have been actually one of the first times I saw him was in Alameda. It was it was in the early '80s, and he would show up for a tournament, let's say like in January. Then you wouldn't see him again, like until April or May. And I remember that's what I said. All of a sudden he comes in and he's got a mohawk haircut, and we hadn't seen him in like 5 or 6 months. And he's bowling a roll off against I can't remember who it was. He was bowling a roll off in the Rabbit. So Hutch and I are sitting there watching him. And Hutch goes, "Mike, where the hell you been?" He goes, "I've been in jail." What the fuck? And he's got this mohawk and all this. Oh my God! And then I mean, he threw it straight. I mean, Mike threw it so straight.
And he took his thumb out.
When Marlis and I went to bowl the doubles at Samstown, and mixed doubles at Samstown, he was bowling with Dana. And we walk in, we're just sitting there shooting the shit, and he comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, Charlie, come here and watch this," right? Doesn't have his thumb in it. He can't miss. I mean, the pins can't wait to run into each other. He goes, "You think I had a bowl like that?" And I goes, "Well, Mike, what do you think?" He goes, "Yeah, the only time I throw it straight now is at a spare." It's a good idea. Next thing you know, national championship, couple other titles.
Sounds like Ryan, Chris's son. Bowl one-handed, couldn't hit the head pin on a regular basis. Bowls two-handed, shoots 300 every week.
Yeah,
he could hit the head pin.
It was insane.
He couldn't knock the 5-pin over.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I guess I got my lingo incorrect. I was talking about bleeders.
Bleeder?
Yeah.
Bleeder's gripped a little bit more.
So what made a bleeder a bleeder?
You know what? You'd have to ask Salvino that.
Okay.
It was something, and he.
Man, that'd be a show. Carmen. Woo.
He
was,
He was. He's a very smart man at things like that. He's a self-educated chemist, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Carmen is like one of the world's greatest storytellers as well.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
I remember we were outside Fountain Bowl and we saw him on the corner of the street. And when he started telling us these stories, it was light. And by the time we moved from that corner, it was dark.
Yeah.
He tells us one story. He says, the key to a great exhibition is little kids and fat women. we go, what? And he goes, the world loves a fat woman and a little kid. He goes, it's just the way it is. He said, you find that lady, that big lady, you can go and flirt with her. Nobody thinks you're a pussy hound. She has a great time. Everybody has a great time. I sit on her lap like it's a couch.
Oh, that's
Oh, Carmen, you are the greatest. He goes, if you go to the hot woman, everybody thinks you're a pussy hound. Oh, dear.
The first time I ever saw him, Hutch and I can't remember where the hell we were walking into one of the bowling centers, and he said, yeah, he said, he goes, here's what, he goes, boy, he goes, boy, here's what I do. He said, I go into the bowling center on the payphone, and he says, I call and have myself paid so people know I'm there.
oh, he's just class. I got lucky enough to bowl with him. Bowl the ABC and won the doubles once. But he was, but the other side of Carmen was he could always. I mean, he was a mentor to me. He and Bill Tucker. But Carmen was just he's a compassionate man. He cares about the sport. He cares about people. So if I had a problem, I could talk to him. So he's going to be 89 in a couple of weeks. He hasn't answered the phone this week, but I keep trying.
I remember I went to a Jeff Dunham, the guy with the puppets.
Yeah.
In Reno, and we were sitting in the slightly upper level, and there was a metal bar right in front of Carmen, so you couldn't fall, down because we were in the raised area. And Jeff Dunham almost killed Carmen with a t-shirt cannon. So I'm sat right next to Carmen, right? And Jeff Dunham's like, and at the end, he gets out like a t-shirt gun and he shoots it and it goes about 5 rows. And he goes, well, that's bullshit, isn't it? So he goes and he picks up another one. It's a bit bigger and he shoots it and he goes about 20 rows and he gets another one. And he goes, and then he pulls out this thing that looks like it's an Uzi, right? And he goes, and he hits this thing and it hit the top bar, the metal bar, right in front of Carmen. And it went bing straight over Carmen's head. This bar was still ringing like 2 or 3 minutes later. Like, ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, holy shit, Jeff Dunham almost killed Carmen Salvino with a t-shirt. So, yeah, there's been some good times with Carmen. I remember the USB-C for a while. It might have been the PBA. They had like volunteer kids who were at the bowling centers, and Carmen would give them like a little speech, like he taught to or whatever. And every kid, Benoit was there with him. And every kid, Carmen would be in the bowling center. He'd go, who am I? And the kid would go, you the man. Like he'd make every kid say that. So he'd go, hey, boy. And the kid would turn around and goes, who am I? And he goes, you the man. Right. So me and Rick found these 2 kids that Rick knew. And we convinced them that when Carmen asked them that, they should say, you the old man. Right. So I guess this kid, finally they got to this kid and he said, who am I, boy? And he goes, you the old man. I didn't tell you to say that, boy. So he went on and he found out that it was me. So I stood in the bowling center, right? And the next minute, I feel this metal bar go across my throat and I get picked up and it's Carmen's arm across my throat. And he's choking me out. And he goes, who am I, boy? And I'm like, you the old man. He goes, I'll snap your neck like a twig, boy. Who am I? You the man, Carmen. And don't you forget it, boy. Oh, man, I love Carmen. He's the best.
Oh, he's great.
For all the places he's been and all the times. I remember one year he was staying in Reno at I guess it was the Sands. And he comes to me and he goes, do you know anybody who could get me in the El Dorado? Why? He goes, I don't really feel that safe walking to the Sands. I'm like, holy shit. For all the places that Carmen's been in his life, if he doesn't feel safe, that's a little rough.
Walking across
like, yeah. But, well, like I say, all fun and games. Have you got any other anecdotes that you want to let us know about? Any other stories?
Charlie's a storyteller, man.
Says, did anybody get months and have their hand shoved down the ball return?
Action matches.
Not that I know of.
No.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
You feel like you could do that on a Wednesday night in league, though, right now. There's an interesting question. Who do you guys think is the best bowler of all time?
I go by generations.
Yeah,
I don't
but
have
that's not the question.
the last generation is Belmo, and before that, I don't know. When I started bowling, Carter was the best, and Weber was the best, and Don Johnson was the best for a while. Earl, Walter. I mean, it's just I can't just say the best. It's like,
Didn't you bowl with like Count? What's his name from
Engler?
Don Gangler?
Yeah.
No, smart ass. But for your information, I am the last bowler to bowl with Sarge Easter.
Wow. There you go.
That's true. I bowled in a doubles league with him. I was 11 and he was 70 something. He still had like 205 or something like that. He wanted to bowl with me when his partner had to move. Well, why? It was an eight lane house. Mike Durbin's father owned the land in the building, and the guy that owned the center was Julie Camp. So I was the guy who bowled Sarge Easter.
So Kenny,
I'd say probably the best bowler. I think it's Norm. I'm just from the standpoint of the way that he bowls. I mean, just all the shit that he goes through and what he can do, and just by seeing it over the last, seeing it bowl and bowling with him over the last 40 years or however long it's been. I just think Norm's phenomenal.
I've got to follow up to that though, Charlie. Right, and I feel like this happened to Voss as well. If in 2009 Walter Ray and Duke both stopped bowling, Duke wouldn't even be in the conversation for who was better.
No, you don't think so?
Well, no, because he was miles behind.
Wow.
And not even in the same hemisphere as Walter Ray.
Right.
But Duke's been unbelievable
With
in
reaction.
his 50s. Well, not even. I don't care about that. I just mean
50 to 60.
Yeah, I just think that it's hard because there are some guys who bowl on tour, like a lot of the younger guys, have literally never been there when Walter Ray's been in contention as one of the best 4 or 5 bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
But they have been around while Duke's bowled and done unbelievable things. So these guys suddenly think that Duke's not you, Charlie, I'm talking about younger guys, think that Duke's way better than Walter Ray when that's just not really the case. If he is better, it's like a percentage point. It's not like, oh my God, it's like this much.
Yeah.
And I just wonder sometimes, how long a guy continues to bowl. That's why I think Duke's smart with retiring now. He won 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in everybody's mind when he finishes.
Right.
Whereas Walter Ray was player of the year in 2009. And then he had those more issues with his hand and body and whatever else.
But
And
don't forget that Walter Ray was bowler of the year in 1986 before reactive balls. Norm had 2 titles before reactive balls and 38 with them.
Yeah.
But as far as being able to, Norm has an unbelievable amount of tricks that he can do with a bowling ball with his towel but that doesn't count. But the way he can make a ball hook, make a ball go straight, he's phenomenal. He doesn't need a spare ball because he can flatten out that ball. But Walter Ray did it with every ball, and so did Pete.
Yeah. I do feel like it's a bit like with some of the sports stars just in general. Peyton Manning, for example, is great with the media. Tom Brady wasn't, for the majority of the time. So people get drawn into Norm is a much more out there personality than Walter is. So I think that people kind of, they want Norm to be the best because they've got better stories with Norm.
Right.
And we're talking about three guys here who have got like 120 titles between them. I'm not like, but we're talking about the greatest of all greats. Like, me personally, I think Belmo's better, but that's because I bowled in that. And I think that the big tournaments, the person who wins the most of those is the best. Like,
No,
golf,
I mean, yeah, I think Belmo's the best. I think Belmo's probably the best bowler ever. At this point, without a doubt.
People never spoke about Sam Snead being the best golfer because he had the most tournament wins. Like, I mean, they did until Jack came along. And to me, that's the majors are the most important thing, but that's a topic for another day.
I wouldn't know about that.
You guys are crazy. The best bowler to ever live is Linda Barnes.
Where's pretty close. It's not bad.
Tony, that has to be a joke. The best Bob Perry stories I've heard have all been from Bob Perry.
Oh, well, exactly, because Earl would never bowl Bob Perry. Just ask Bob Perry.
Yeah. But that's not something Earl would ever say. So,
yeah, but again, I'm guessing that Bob Perry was left-handed.
No,
he's right-handed.
Oh, he's right-handed. Oh, okay, sorry. I just assumed that anybody I've not heard of, and that's my ignorance, is left-handed.
No,
East Coast guy. Timmy has stories about him.
So
we talked about soakers before, but I don't remember. Johnny never used a soaker. He used softballs when they came out because I asked him yesterday when Chris talked to me about soakers.
Who was that?
Johnny Petraglia.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if Davis did, the lefties of that day, McGrath, if he had used a soaker, his ball might have just rolled out.
Well, I mean, USBC say that it makes most difference when they're manufactured, so maybe that was true then.
Yeah.
Norm is the best showman we've ever had. Pete is the most talented. Walter Ray is the greatest, and Belmo broke the molds. I think that's a fair synopsis.
I like that. That's good.
Yeah, of the guys.
No doubt that Norm.
Of the guys that Richie's bowled with, Dick Weber obviously was our best ambassador, probably.
Right.
Along the way, but we didn't bowl with him, so it's kind of. I mean, I got to bowl one match against him, but didn't see him in his prime. I didn't see Carmen really in his prime. Didn't get to see you.
No.
Tap never really had a prime, so I don't know when that was. But
I'm still working on it.
I got to bowl Dick a lot. I bowled him for the lead in the Masters when Jim in '69. I had the sixth match to bowl for the title. And Dick
Another earthquake at Tap's place.
This is going to be Tap's view in a few more years.
Just flowers.
Just looking up at
Oh shit! So I do know. There you go. Big Mike says, "Where's Earl and Roth on the list?"
There at one time I would have said that Mark Roth was the best bowler I'd ever seen. That was my take. In his prime, 20 titles in 3 years.
Pretty good flip.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. I mean, and all they could talk about was his thumb, and he ran up and threw the ball, and he took 7 or 8 steps, but arm swings good as Weber's. And Earl just was special, and I contribute some of that to bowling in the Northwest because most of the guys that came out, the bowlers, I don't know how deep Dave could get, but Johnny was they played out the year. McGrath threw it, piped it up 5, 6, 7, and Earl could play the third arrow. He could play past the third arrow, and guys like that from the Northwest could do it. And I watched a show the other day on YouTube, and Earl was, I don't even know, I think he won, but how heavy his ball rolled at the back end. And you take how smart he was. I think Mark said one time in Connecticut, the U.S. Open and the bowling center was on a flight path, so Earl drilled about 10 bowling balls before the tournament started, because he said with the amount of dirt, with the amount of vibrations from the airplanes, the bowling balls are going to wear out 3 or 4 games, and he switched balls and led by 700. But I think he lost them. Things like that. I mean, Earl was, he'd take 3 bowling balls and he could throw them probably 3 or 4 different ways. So you give him 3 bowling balls, all of a sudden he's got 9, 10, 11, 12 bowling balls that he could make do different things.
Yeah, I was about to say, Troy says there's a lot of lefty talk on here. I know somebody who's been in the bowling industry for quite a while, who's fairly well respected, who when the 50 greatest book of all time came out, he said he opened it, he saw Earl was 1 and shut the book because he said once there was any lefty in the top 50, it disqualified it as being a reasonable book.
I don't know. Let's see. Davis, Earl, Steve Cook, Mike Albee, 27.
Yeah, he just said he was just making the point that the lefties play a completely different sport, so they shouldn't even be in the debate with the righty over who's the best. I thought that was pretty good, but so me and Belmo once asked Norm, who's the greatest spare shooter of all time? And Norm looked Belmo dead in the face and said, "It's me, and it's not even close," was the response. And the funny part of the story is we said, "Well, what about Walter Ray?" And Belmo's like, "Walter Ray made 570 single pins in the season in a row or whatever." And Norm's like, "I didn't stutter. It's me. And it's not close," right? We go on to the show, and Norm, the first frame, misses the 2-pin.
Nice.
Right? In the break, we switch lanes. Belmo walks past Norm and goes, "Better than Walter Ray, hey?"
Roth was awful good. Earl would miss some 7-pins.
Norm said that nobody double tapped the 10-pin more than Roth. He said whenever he heard him, it was always like pow, 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 on the 10-pin every time. He goes, he just wouldn't leave it alone. It was always like the ball landed on the 10-pin every time. But yeah. But I think that's my favorite Norm quote of all time. Who's the best spare shooter of all time? It's me, and it's not even close.
All right, what's your 2 guys' lowest game thrown in a tournament?
129.
Oh, fuck out of here. It's 129.
It's 129.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Between 260 and 270.
I think I'm 119.
I'm serious. 129 between 260 and 270.
Nice.
I don't believe it's that high. 129 is huge for the low game ever.
That's true.
You're just blocking them out.
But I am a seasoned professional.
Yeah, there you are.
Some of that's correct. Seasoned.
Yes, seasoned. Yeah.
I think 119. I think that's my low.
What is it?
119.
Oh, I've got you guys smoked. I had a 105.
Nice game.
My low one on tours, 134, I think. So
again, another guy who's full of shit.
Yeah,
just blocking him out.
But it's like it's 117 in college. So I still remember where.
So I guess they're asking about Norm. Well, Norm didn't say anything, but his team beat mine and Belmo's team. And I also made a little bit of a comment about Walter Ray. And Norm was in the bar taking a drink, and he goes, "These 2 fucking guys." was the beginning of it. We gave Norm a hard time, and then he that was the show. If any of you remember, like, because you have the roll-offs, when you tie. And Tommy Jones is going anchor for Norm's team. And Tommy goes to get up to bowl, and Norm walks up, taps him in the chest, and goes, "I got this." Goes up and throws a strike from the lead. He was lead off, so it'd been forever since he'd bowled. And he'd stopped Tommy, who at the most people would put as one of the most clutch players. And he says, "I got you." Tommy goes, "All right, Norm," and he goes up 10. Yeah, that was fucking Norm. Big Mike says he bowls 129 like once a month.
And that's why he doesn't cheat. So
MJ is the GOAT. Yeah.
Nice.
So
See more butts. Hey, there you go.
you were in and out when Richie asked. Dick Allen wants to know a backyard Ken Griffey Jr. story from you when he was a kid.
Backyard Ken Griffey Jr. story. Other than the fact playing in the backyard that when McGrath and I lived together with Mike's kids, or it's funny. I probably got more stories I can't tell about senior than I junior.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's. I mean, senior, junior was junior. The first time I wasn't bowling on tour, and I'd met Ken, and that friendship's been 40. This month is going to be, 1976. That's 46 years over a VCR. But I went to the house in Cincinnati. I had the address, and it was about 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd never been there, and I walked the front doors kind of open, and I look in, and the kids, Kenny and Craig, they look and they go, and they go like, God damn, Mom, there's some white guy at the door. And Bertie, she'd do her own house cleaning. She never had a house cleaner. She looked at me and she goes, well, who are you? I said, well, I'm Barry. Oh my God, you're Barry from California. Yeah. Well, how long are you staying? I go, well, I didn't know I was. I just thought, stop by and say hi. Oh, no. Stayed about a week. But Junior, and I stayed at Junior's house in Seattle when we bowled the senior tour. That was fun. I went to his wedding. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's
a wild ride you've been on.
Yeah, who the hell can say they went to Ken Griffey Jr.'s wedding and bowl league with Roy Rogers? Only me. Crazy. I mean, it's nuts that I think back. I don't know. Somebody says write a book. I wouldn't know how to write a book, but it's been a hell of a ride. I'm glad I'm still here and pretty healthy.
They're saying could Junior bowl?
Could Junior bowl? You know what? I never saw Junior bowl except once on a TV thing, because when I first met Burkett, it was in Vegas and he was spectating and I was spectating, and I talked to him once on the phone. I just happened to call there, and we started talking, and I said, well, where do you guys train in Arizona? I'm going down there next week to see Junior's baby. They was just born. Trey was just born. Kelsey was about, I don't know, I've got a picture somewhere of Trey. He's teared up. So he goes, I've got a bowling tournament. Would you bowl? I said, yeah, I'd bowl. He said, would Junior bowl? I said, no, I can't talk for Junior with a new baby. I said, but I guarantee you that his mom will be with me because we're staying with her. And we went over there, and Barry Bonds bowled, and Barry, he liked to hook it. He bowled pretty good. I think he had a 2-teen game. And
man, there you go. Steroids working bowling too.
Yeah. Storage Wars, I mean, come on.
Storage Wars. See, I told you. Storage Wars.
Yeah.
So
you're just famous, Barry.
This dates my wife a little bit, but she sold youth patches to Roy Rogers. So
yeah. Got drunk with Roy Rogers at the Playboy Club at Lake Geneva. That was pretty cool.
And we're moving on to the R-rated portion of the show today.
Nice.
Here we go. No sense stopping there.
No.
Continue on, my friend.
I don't have any beef and Barnzy stories. And Tapper, I mean, those would be Joe Hutch stories.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pete sure got thrown out of the Holiday Inn in Sarasota for bobbing for customers in the hot tub. That was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. He came out of the bar. Poor Pete got rest of his soul. He had a couple of toddies, and there was a girl in there that was wearing a T-shirt with not much underneath it. And so he thought he'd dive in, and he dived in and came in and he was under her t-shirt.
Pete Couture?
Yeah.
Oh
It was
my
the greatest
God.
thing I'd ever seen. Hutch and I watched Pete Couture and Pete Weber and Mark Fay they were all loaded at a pool party. It was unbelievable. And Pete, and Mark Fay had that. He was so big,
Yeah.
and he had no ass. He's wearing his swimming trunks. They're both carrying a 6-pack of beer with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth.
Of course.
So Fay jumps in the pool. He's got his beer like this, and a cigarette in his hand. He jumps up like this so he doesn't get anything wet. And so Pete's going to go down the slide. And he weighs like, 112 pounds or something? So he gets on top of the slide and he's going to go down belly first. And it's dry as a bone. And all you could hear was, with his skin. So Fay gets out of the pool and pops a beer and pours it down the slide. He goes, "Here you go, Pete." So Pete's in the pool. I mean, it was hysterical.
Sounds like an absolute shit show.
Oh, well, yeah, it was. But yeah, it just, oh my God. That was when they had the best buns contest at the Holiday Inn there in Sarasota for the PBA bowlers. Oh Christ, was it funny?
Best buns. Who won? Voss or somebody?
Laskow.
Laskow.
Yeah, Tom Laskow.
Oh, he's in somewhere. I talked to him the other day.
Yeah, he's coaching college bowling out east.
Yeah. Didn't
he have the shop in Carolina for a while?
No, Tita did. I don't know if Laskow did.
Yeah, Tita did, yeah.
I thought Laskow was in there. Anyway, whatever. It don't matter.
Boys. Old man.
Did he fall off his chair?
I feel like he's gone to get a prop. Barry's just forgotten he was on the show. He's just like, screw it.
Yeah.
And that Alzheimer's thing hits the weirdest time sometimes.
It does, yeah.
If I'd have known he was going to go, we could have inserted an ad break now.
Does anybody get a spare life alert anywhere in the show right now?
If anybody's in the Fountain Valley area, could you go and check on Barry, please?
Oh God.
We've got Tap having earthquakes now. We've just got Barry passing out. Oh,
Well, to be fair, at this point, there's no way he could have made this long without having a pee. So
that's what I'm pretty sure that's what he's got to do. He just didn't say anything. He just said, "Gotta pee."
Yep.
Oh God.
Oh Jesus. Oh well. I guess we could probably. All right. One real quick question. I keep it around 2,000. So.
The 50. So be nice to me.
Oh, there he is.
You needed a comfort break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have given us warning rather than just dumping the phone and leaving.
David Copperfield should have that disappearing act.
We were worried whether we were going to have to dial 911 and send him round.
I'm falling and I can't get up.
Guys.
You guys are terrible picking on old people.
I know. Hey, George.
So Barry, are you still in Fountain Bowling?
I am.
Hasn't Fountain Bowl been shutting for about the last decade?
Been what?
Hasn't it been like being threatened to be shut down for about the last decade?
No, not really. When Foreman and Osborne decided to sell it, they didn't, whatever. I don't think they cared. They got their good. Dave, he got his money, so he went to play golf in the desert. But and they found the right people to buy it, the Vietnamese family, and they don't really know anything about the bowling business per se. But the idea that they let the brother-in-law, he's the manager. And Foreman explained, because they're just real estate people. And the lady was talking to me that she's American. She's American. She goes, well, you don't have a lease. You don't have a lease. And Gary Foreman, thank God, explained to her that he's never had a lease. He just pays his rent every month and puts out fires and things like that. But it's been a great year about 19, I don't know, since July of 2021 when they reopened, and the culture, Vietnamese people, that the new customers is off the chart for me. I never thought it would ever be this good. So if I
that's
can,
awesome, because I know that people were worried that it was going to shut down
it,
and
it
be leveled.
at some point, but now that's always been the rumor. Mark and I, we never thought it would reopen, and then they found the people there that, if somebody had come in, a bowling person that dotted the I's and crossed the T's, the price would have probably been a lot lower, because there's just a lot of stuff that needs to be done. But the rumor, well, actually, I guess it's not a rumor. The one owner, B, doesn't speak a lot of, he's Vietnamese. He's the brother and his family. I guess he runs the money in the family. I said, B, I heard a rumor that you're going to tear out the meeting room and the nursery and put in a restaurant, sandwich shop, Vietnamese food. He goes to his phone and he starts showing me the plans.
That's cool.
So if these are the plans, then what's that tell you? That, he asked me once, he said, do you think we could be open for 10 years? I said, I think you could be open as long as you want to be. And this place will be profitable as long as you don't lose the keys. That was always the rumor. Don't lose the keys to Fountain Bowl and you'll make money. So how much money can they make? They did 4.2 in 2019. And I told Foreman, I said, I think Baker and I, with no knowledge, never run a bowling center, could do 5.5. And I said, we just need him to manage the money. So, what's their end game? Are they going to be able to someday tear it down and build apartments or build whatever they do? But by that time, I hope I'm looking up at the foul line.
Yeah, the dirt's worth a lot. It's a quarter mile from 405, and it's right across from Square Mile. So your neighborhood's going to be okay for some time. So
yeah, if you go up the street up Brookhurst, but the address is Westminster, not Fountain Valley, so it's a whole different ball game. First Street, Balso is the first street they tore. They've got, I think, apartment buildings that are going up. But I don't know about Fountain Valley. It's one thing Dave Osborne did was connect with the community, with the mayors, the people. He was good at glad handing, really was. So I think that maybe's really helped. But I couldn't be happier being there.
Yeah, well, that's, like I say, that's good to hear, because at the minute it feels like bowling centers are going through a bit of a change. It feels like any bowling center that anybody's ever said, I like that place, Bolero or buying, or it's being sold for the land. So it's cool to hear that Fountain Bowl is still kicking and moving on in a great direction. Let's have this as the last question. We've been going for an hour and a half. I know you've only worked part-time on this show, Barry, with your phone and toilet issues. But so
only once. I mean, at one time I got it.
I mean, I'm proud of you, Barry.
You should be.
I mean, I guess that surgery worked. All right. Greatest PBA tour moment ever for each of you?
First win.
Yeah.
Had to be Encino. I grew up in Encino until my father passed away when I was 11. So, hometown boy. And, I'm sure that we all heard it. Well, you better, Chris did finish school. I don't know if Charlie, I didn't finish college. Barely, I got a degree from a school is where my degree came from. But to win the first tournament in front of all those people and all those doubters and all those people criticized, because I'm a lot nicer person at 76 than I was at 18. I guarantee you. Chris will argue that point, but hey, listen, as long as Chris has a bed, he can stay at my house. You guys, you're welcome. So it's okay. But yeah, that had to be that That was my number one moment. Was my number one win.
What year was that?
66.
19,
AD?
right? Yeah.
What?
66 AD?
Yeah.
Just okay. Check.
Yeah. Remember,
I was just checking. It was 1966.
1966, and 2 months later, if none of you, well, Charlie was born, so Petraglia and I were defending you. So take that for there. There you go.
Defending who?
Defending our country.
Oh yes, I was about to say. You were defending your guys' country.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Well, you weren't even born yet, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't either. So
No.
Yeah, you're probably right. Let's see. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, Richard
Charlie?
never stays on this long. You guys have obviously been pretty entertaining. What about you, Charlie? What's your greatest memory?
Probably my second win in Hartford. The first one, obviously, is great, but the second one justifies it.
I'm on your team, Charlie. I think the second one's more important.
But
I'm going with I think you should go with the Tom Brady though. The Tom Brady answer to this is always the next one.
Yeah.
So anyway, your second win.
Yeah.
How long was it after your first?
6 years.
Yeah.
There was a lot
wasn't
of
as long. How long was your second win after your first?
Mine, 8 weeks.
Yeah. See, it's not the same, is it?
I was bowling.
Then the third one came 4 months later. 5 months later. And it was just all the shit from the time in between those times that had happened, between brother dying and the divorce and just all kinds of crap where you thought you were never ever going to get to that level again. Mm-hmm. And what was really funny is with that week, right before the Pro-Am, Johnny Campos called me into the office and he goes, "Hey," he said, "listen, your sponsor paid for the Firestone was the next week." And he said, "Your sponsor paid your entry fee for the Firestone, so I'll give you the money back." And I'm like, you know what? No, just hang on to it. I said, maybe you'll need it. And I got on the show and went through the field and won the tournament. And got to Akron with no money. I mean, the whole thing was just, just the way that it went was phenomenal, And so yeah, that was the neatest one, or the most fun, or the most important, I guess.
So I think I'm right in saying, Charlie, that you are, I don't know whether you do it, but you have a Stu Williams bowling shirt.
I do. I do. I shot 300 with that shirt.
Yeah.
And made a show. Yeah, I still have it.
And those motherfuckers never gave me a royalty for it.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I see it, and I was like, that guy's wearing my shirt.
Yeah. I wore it proudly. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, you're definitely the most famous person who's ever worn Stu Williams merch. So.
That's scary. I mean, I make a lot of appearances, supermarkets and fish stores, shit like
that. You cut ribbons and kiss babies.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He wore it to that one convenience store when he robbed it. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. With my name shirt on.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the asshole that robbed it. We don't know his name, but he had a Williams shirt on.
I was just saying, Barry, Charlie was so desperate for a shirt design, he used mine.
That had to look good.
All right. Well, we've really exhausted our time slot here.
This might be our longest show ever.
And I also have a turkey fryer to empty.
That's because I couldn't get on.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Chris told me I'd be on 15 minutes. Well,
to be honest, if you added it all up, it's probably only about 18.
Probably right.
Well, between bathroom breaks and everything else, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
One time, and I'm branded for life, right? It's like, like my Barnes nickname of Wrinkles.
Yeah.
Just because I said I'd iron his shirt.
I didn't want you to be the only one with them. So that's all. That's
okay. Thanks, Chris.
all right. Well, with
The
that,
nice one.
yeah, we'll finish on an up note here. So, appreciate you guys coming on. We're gonna have to do this again a little bit. Talk a little more about the history of
You're on TV.
of everything, and that way Charlie can get to his vacuuming.
I do, yeah. I have vacuuming to do, and that's laundry day, I think. The soiled underwear gets done on Thursdays.
Oh, you once a week? Nice.
Well, when it's the same pair, you just go commando that day, or what?
Absolutely, yeah. You have no idea. You don't want me to stand up right now.
Yeah.
We've really gone off the rails here, Barnes.
All right, well, listen,
Let's side this show out.
All right. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. In between now and then, if you get a choice, please support the sponsors that support us: Storm, Rotogrip, 9R Global, Kuwait, Bowlers Mart, Fire Lake Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, and Platinum Ford. Thanks to Barry Asher and Charlie Tapp for joining us today. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.
See you guys later.
see you guys.